salutations, everybody. Welcome to episode number 41 of The Casual Movie Club. It's the podcast where two pals hang out, watch a random movie, and then talk about it and rate it for your listening pleasure. Pleasure. My name's John, your good pal, and of course, with me, as always, is my very close friend, my good buddy, Brian. How are you?
Hey, I'm good. What's up, everybody?
I love that we just allowed enough time for my throat to make some weird noise right when you said that. But hey, man, it is great to see you.
Yeah, you too.
How you been, man?
Feeling good, feeling great.
Awesome, man. And you know, I gotta say, this was a cool movie we did today.
This was a good one. This one is, despite its lack of spookiness, it's on brand for the theme. As of this recording, we're recording in October, the season of spooky.
Season of spooky,
yeah, this is
weird kind of, crime, drama, murdering.
Tim, does this feel like a Halloween movie to you? And be honest with me.
It's like I'm torn. Yes and no. Mm-hmm. Because I think a lot of times Halloween is centered around ghosts and goblins and ghouls and scary shit. But we can't discount crime and murder and death.
Yeah. And
so
this is a big yes. Yes. All those things. I was gonna
right. So the movie we're talking about is Clue.
Get a clue
from 1985.
Yeah.
And I got to say, this was so much fun to watch. I adore this movie.
Yeah.
I really do. I love this movie.
Heavy hitters in the cast.
Yeah.
By the way.
I mean, Christopher Lloyd, Madeline Kahn, Tim Curry.
Yeah. You're forgetting Michael McKean.
Michael McKean, of course. I mean, how can we forget?
Yeah, I love Michael McKean.
Oh, yeah. Martin Mull.
See, I don't know Martin Mull very well.
Colonel Mustard.
Yeah, well, yeah, I know he was Colonel Mustard, but I don't really know him in really anything else. Like, all of the... besides everyone we've named so far, I don't really know Eileen Brennan from anything.
I think she's done a lot more theater.
Yeah,
she might be more of a theater actress.
Yeah, I'm not a big theater guy, so I can't say that I know a lot of.
We need to make you watch more musicals.
It depends on the musical. It really depends on. Did they make a movie out of it? Because I'll watch that.
Right.
Yeah, I know Michael McKean. I don't know Leslie Ann Warren very well. Miss Scarlet.
I didn't know her very well, but we talked about this on the Knock Knock podcast that Yvette was the lady who played Yvette.
Yeah.
For some reason her name is escaping me. She was in Knock Knock as well with Keanu Reeves, which you guys should definitely check out that podcast because that was another winner of a movie.
Colleen Camp,
that's right. But this movie was far better than Knock Knock, would you say?
I would, yes, by a mile.
Yeah,
by a mile.
Yeah, I mean, I've got my ratings on this are certainly going to reflect that, but this was a great movie. And
I just generally enjoyed this more.
Oh yeah, and for those unaware, this movie Clue from 1985 has amassed quite the cult following.
Yeah.
It's definitely a cult following movie, kind of like Rocky Horror in that sort of vein. It's one that I didn't look at the numbers. Did this? Let me just see what IMDb says. Did this do really well when it? Let's see. Budget was $15 million. Yeah. So this is one of those things where, it had the budget was $15 million. I'm looking at IMDb to get this information. Budget was $15 million. Opening weekend did $2 million. And then gross was $14 million, so it didn't even make the budget. But I think this, just like many cult movies, this movie developed a following afterwards that even though it didn't reap the benefits financially in the box office, it's I still consider it a very successful movie.
Well, it's surprising that it didn't reach its budget at
Right.
least. And the reason for that, and I haven't checked like internet facts or
We don't do
trivia or
that.
anything. We don't do that here. But I do know that when they were screening this film when it first came out in the late 80s or whatever, they screened the 3 different versions.
Right.
Of it.
And this was one of the only movies that I've seen, again, because we don't do internet research or anything like that. I've never seen a movie that showed multiple endings at this, kind of one right after the other.
Yeah, well, we're seeing that now because it's all put together. But at the time, if you were to see this in theaters, you would see one of 3 different endings.
Right.
And if you talk to somebody who saw it at a different time, they may have seen a different ending. And you're just sitting down chatting with your buddy. Oh, yeah, Clue was good. I like how everyone was the murderer at the end. It's like, what? Everyone's the
Miss
murderer.
Scarlet was the murderer in mine.
Miss Scarlet was, so
Yeah.
that's really, really fun that they did that.
And honestly, I think that is very original.
Yes.
Very original.
One would say unique.
Exactly. Exactly. My scores are certainly going to reflect that for sure.
Yeah.
So, I've got a handful of things I want to ask you, and then I've got something I want to bring up specifically. But
Sure.
Let's start with my things to ask Brian.
Okay.
All right. Yvette's tits. Give me your detailed analysis.
Detailed analysis.
Your detailed analysis of Yvette's tits, because her boobs were a major part of her character. Because if you think about it, when she was serving people or when, she was introducing people, half a dozen of the cast looked at her cleavage at some point. So what is your detailed, in-depth analysis of Yvette's tits?
Well, it's funny you call out Yvette's tits. Now, it's interesting because Yvette is the maid, and she is wearing your stereotypical French maid outfit, with the bust being lifted. It's just the way the dress was designed. Right. So her cleavage was full on display.
Right.
Now, I appreciated them. They were a pair of just nimbus clouds that I could lose myself in. However, and
Would you motorboat
I enjoy.
those?
I'm like a motorboat son of a bitch. I'd be all in there. You'd have to tow me out.
Yeah.
With a tow truck or whatever. Hers were great, and I'm saying this with a caveat because Miss Scarlet's was on more display. She was showing more cleavage. And
You think so? I thought her dress was a little more reserved.
It was lower cut than Yvette's.
I didn't notice that.
Yvette's had lift, and it was built into the dress.
Okay.
Miss Scarlet's dress was shoulderless and no straps, and it had very little support. And because of that, when she bent over, hers were on greater display.
I see.
So
who had the better rack?
I would say Miss Scarlet.
Really?
Yvette's were on better display, if you will, because of the lift and push.
Okay.
As the dress was designed, but I would say Miss Scarlet's were better.
Okay. Well, all right. That's we'll go with that.
You weren't expecting that, were you?
No, I wasn't. I thought you were going to be singing the praises of Yvette's boobs.
And I am like a couple of just mounds of mashed potatoes. I could just sink my face in, all buttery and smooth. But Miss Scarlet's, they win the day for me.
Okay.
And I gotta tell you, I'm more of the front than the back.
Okay.
I'm a chest guy, not a back guy.
That's fine. And I mean, we didn't really see much of Yvette's rear end, but Miss Scarlet had a very slinky dress.
Yeah.
So we could see her figure better.
Again, Yvette's dress was the stereotypical French maid. So the dress or skirt that she had was very, very puffy. So it didn't give you a lot of her back.
Right.
Miss Scarlett's dress was very form-fitting. So you could see a little more what she had going on in the back.
Right.
She was more well-endowed in the front. And for that, I appreciate Miss Scarlett.
All right. Okay. And so now my next question for you is, what would you do if you were in that situation? So you were attending this party at a large mansion, it was raining out. Would you have, and you were given a mysterious weapon and so forth, would you have stayed and participated in kind of the shenanigans that ensued, or would you have found a way to sneak away and call the cops?
Oh, that's interesting. Well, I would like to think that I would play along with the movie, because the movie was a little on the zany side.
Oh, it was.
I liked it.
Very much so. However,
if this were real life, the first person that died, as soon as Mr. Body dies, I'm calling the cops. I'm calling the cops, and I'm getting the hell out of there. I don't know you people. I don't care what you've got on me. Yeah, blackmail is involved, but it's all going to come to light anyway. I'm gonna face the consequences. I'm out of there before.
Take the high road.
I'm out of there before the cook gets it.
Yeah. Well, yeah, exactly. Okay, and then that
what about you though?
So me, I would do the exact same thing. I would kind of play along as much as I could while, trying to remain safe as much as possible. And then at the first chance I get, sneak away, call the cops, and just sort of, try to be as in the background as possible until the cops got there, and then just kind of threw my hands up, kind of like the way Mr. Green kept doing it with the whole "I didn't do it" thing.
Yeah.
That would have been me. I would have been like, "Hey, it wasn't me. I didn't do it."
I wouldn't have even played along. Like I'm out the door, or I'm calling the cops, and if somebody tries to stop me from calling the cops, I'm leaving.
Right, but the problem was all the doors were locked.
Oh, that's right. All the doors were locked.
Number one, and number two, would you have wanted to be opposed to everything that early on? Because if you were putting up a strong opposition and saying like, I'm not doing this, I'm calling the cops, I'm out, don't you think that would have made you kind of have a target painted on you, to get you out of the equation so no attention is drawn to anybody else?
Yeah. If I'm in that situation that early, then I would be hanging on to my weapon. I wouldn't be allowing it to be taken from me and locked in a cabinet and that kind of thing.
And that was something I took issue with. They took Wadsworth took all the weapons and locked them in the cabinet. That was a dumb idea, because if they were all admitting to not being the killer or not being murderous or anything like that, and just playing along, if that were the case, there would have been some additional mysterious person hiding in the house. Wouldn't they have wanted some way to protect themselves had they encountered this person?
Yeah, but you could also kill anybody with anything too. Like, there is a lot of other things that could have been used as weapons around the house.
True, but they were all given lethal weapons. They were given a knife, a gun, a candlestick, a rope. Like they were given things that could be used as self-defense weapons.
I would have held on to that wrench, that lead pipe.
Oh yeah,
I would have held on to all of it. Yeah.
I mean, now granted, the gun was only a .32 caliber. I looked it up while we were watching, so it wasn't super powerful. But
I mean, a
gun's a gun.
Headshot. Yeah,
a gun's a gun.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's another question for you: who else could you see playing Mr. Body?
Mr. Body didn't have a big role. He came in. He was portrayed as like a sleazy, I want to say Italian kind of like mob.
Yeah, like a mob sleazy guy. I can see that.
Like a mob goon or something like that. So this is 85. I could probably see like a young De Niro or a young Joe Pesci play him.
I'd say De Niro over Pesci, yeah. But, I mean, I could kind of see... Now,
De Niro,
the actor that was playing this is a guy named Lee Ving.
Yeah.
Like, that is the greatest name.
Leaving.
Like, if he's walking out the door, you would say Lee Ving is leaving.
Right.
Like, that's an awesome name. And this is an actor that I really have not heard of before this movie.
I've never heard of him at all. Has
Yeah.
he been in anything else?
Let's find out. Let's look at IMDb. But Li Ving was hold on a second here. Li Ving, Mr. Body. Okay.
Oh my God, he was in Flashdance?
Was he?
Yeah, he was Johnny C in Flashdance.
Wow, he was in Fame as well.
Fame, yeah. Wow.
He hasn't been in anything since 2013. But
yeah, The Castle. He was in Endless Summer, the hot rod guy. I don't know a lot of his stuff.
Not a famous guy. He was not famous by any means.
Yeah, big parts.
I could have easily seen De Niro playing that role, but in a way, I kind of saw Li Ving. His name is hilarious. I saw Lee sort of kind of pretending to be a De Niro-like character. I could see him kind of channeling De Niro in a way. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I get it.
So I could see that kind of character. So could you see? So other than De Niro, could you see anybody else playing Mr. Body?
Let me see here. I could probably see.
I think Joe Pesci would be a little too hot-headed. Because I'm thinking of Joe Pesci from Casino, and he seems like he's a little bit too on edge or like too edgy to be that kind of character.
I could see Ray Liotta playing him too.
Definitely Ray Liotta.
Yeah,
100%.
I can't really think of anybody else.
Yeah. But. So everyone out there in Casual Movie Club land, who do you think could play Mr. Body? If you've seen the movie Clue, tell us on Twitter or Instagram. Tag us at Casual Movie Club. Tell us, who do you think could have played Mr. Body as well? Li Ving did a pretty good job, but who else could you see playing that role other than Ray Liotta or Robert De Niro?
So this...
I have one more question for you.
Yeah, shoot.
If you were the cop, if you were the officer, would you have bought it or believed when they showed you the two rooms with the couples, and I'm using air quotes, making out, where they had the dead bodies they were manipulating the dead bodies as if they were just kind of like making out and everything. Would you have bought that as if you were the cop? Did that seem convincing to you?
That the cop that shows up, the first cop?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm just trying to get out of there. This house is weird. I don't like it. The people are weird. I don't like it. I'm just, unless something is. Well, I was real suspicious when they locked him in there.
Yeah, they locked everybody in.
Yeah, I don't know.
The motorist and the cop, and
yeah. I think I would have bought it. Okay, I didn't see.
You thought it was convincing enough?
It's a big house. All these people are making out in all these rooms. I mean, it looks like a sex party, and I'm not really.
A 1965 or
50. It was in the 50s.
I thought I wrote it down. Maybe not. I guess I must have deleted it. 1950 something, New England. I guess it was a swingers party or a sex party.
Yeah, it was during the Red Scare, so it was in the 50s. But yeah, sex party. I'm not sticking around. Ugh.
Makes sense.
Ugh.
Ugh. All right. So I've got another kind of main section of notes that I want to talk about, but I want to give you a chance here. What are some of your things that you want to point out or you want to talk about?
Well, have you played this game before? This is a board game by Milton Bradley.
Yeah, I've played it many times. I love this game.
Have you played any what are the different themed ones that you've played?
I've just played the regular vanilla Clue, where I guess you get dealt a card and you're a certain person, and then you get a weapon in the room and everything, and you kind of have to play it that way. Honestly, it's been probably 20 years since I've played the board game.
Really?
But it's been a long time. But I do remember enjoying playing the board game and doing that sort of thing.
Yeah, I've played it as recently as about a year and a half ago. There's a game bar that's up the street from my house.
Oh, okay.
Called Vigilantes, and they have just a ton of board games.
Oh, okay.
And they've got just a huge variety of the game Clue. There you go. That's for you.
Love Clue.
The last one I played was Harry Potter Clue, and it was it was a lot of fun.
Harry Potter Clue. So like you like Snape and you pick different characters from the franchise and different weapons and rooms in Hogwarts or something.
It's very similar to that. Yeah, it's you're more along the lines of like the Gryffindor people, or just like the students. The teachers and the different classrooms are still in place. So there's a potions classroom, transfiguration classroom, history of magic classroom, that kind of thing. The secret passages are there, and the mechanics are the same. And that's what's great about like Monopoly, like any other these types of board games. They lend themselves to different varieties.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
But yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, that's all I really have for that.
Nice.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. One other thing. Say this was so. You know how they have Jumanji, and Jumanji was rebooted recently.
Yeah.
If they reboot this, like, give me just like off the cuff, like your first few recasting. Like, who would you want to see?
Oh man. That's a good question.
You want to see Keanu Reeves?
Keanu Reeves would be. Oh man, that's a good question. Wow, I didn't even think about this. So, wow. Okay, so Wadsworth, the butler. Colin Firth.
Oh, very nice. Yeah,
Colin Firth. I think Miss Scarlet would be Jane Lynch.
Miss Scarlet would be Jane Lynch.
Yeah,
that's interesting. Okay,
I'm going with whoever the first ones are that come to mind.
Okay,
like I'm not even filtering these. These are literally just off the cuff. Whoever's coming to mind.
Yeah.
Colonel Mustard would probably be. I'm trying to think now. Part of me is kind of thinking Ryan Reynolds, but he may be a little young still for Colonel Mustard, because Ryan Reynolds wouldn't necessarily be a colonel.
Well, Ryan Reynolds is not as young anymore as he was.
True. Ryan Reynolds would have to be in there somewhere. Just because of the fact that he's
honestly,
hilarious.
I would put Ryan Reynolds as the butler. He's quick on the uptake. He can play dry very, very well.
Yeah, I'll give you that. I'll definitely give you that.
I would put Colin Firth as Colonel Mustard, because Colin Firth can play a dimwit pretty well, but he's also very snappy himself.
True. Who would you put? What about you? Just first couple of names that come to your mind.
I would Professor Plum. I would probably put like Idris Elba.
Ooh, interesting.
Because but a very suave version.
Very interesting.
Let me see.
I like that.
Miss Scarlet, I would not do Jane Lynch, because in my mind, Miss Scarlet is a madam. She runs a service for girls.
Right, but Jane Lynch could be that way.
She could, but I'm thinking more along the lines of, oh shit, what's her name? Gossip Girl. Blake Lively. Blake Lively. She married to Ryan Reynolds, as it turns out.
There you go.
Mrs. Peacock. I'd put Jane Lynch as a Mrs. Peacock.
I don't know, because Jane Lynch seems like she's more. Mrs. Peacock doesn't seem like she's as witty. She's not as like witty or gritty as the kind of characters that Jane Lynch portrays.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'll tell you who I would put as Yvette, though. Who? The maid. Like vapid on the surface, but like very sharp and conniving underneath.
Yeah.
Oh man, what was her? Not Kate Blanchett. Who's the girl? That played Catwoman in The Dark Knight. Princess Bride. Not Princess Bride. Princess Diaries.
Oh God, I couldn't think. Her name's on the tip of my tongue.
Dark hair, big eyes, like very.
Her. Let me look it up.
Oh my God, I can't. Oh, I want to get her name before you do. Kate not Winslet. Anne Hathaway.
Anne Hathaway.
Yes.
110%.
Anne Hathaway is the maid.
110%.
Yes.
Yeah, but does she have the bust for it?
Yes, she does.
She does? Okay.
Yes, she does.
Okay.
She's there.
All right.
The cook was so inconsequential. Like, who
gives a shit?
who gives a shit? She had one speaking line.
But why was... Okay, that was something I wrote down. Why was the cook so intense? Like Wadsworth walks in there, how's everything going? And she's like, the dinner will
be ready at 7:30.
But she holds the knife right at him like she's going to stab him. Like, why was she so intense?
I don't know. I like it, though.
Yeah, that was insane.
I could probably, put Kathy Bates as the cook.
Yes.
Yes.
Kathy Bates.
Yeah.
Absolutely, but I mean that's such
Kathy
a
would
small,
own it though. She would own it.
That's a small role for her.
It's a reboot. You can flesh it out a little bit.
Yeah, okay. It's such a small role for her, but I'll give it to her.
Yeah, if we're rebooting, you got to flesh out some of these roles.
Right. And we're assuming that money is no object.
Yeah,
because obviously with all these A-list celebrities, it's not going to be cheap to hire them.
Yeah, I would say
Professor Plum definitely Keanu Reeves.
Keanu Reeves, then I would do Idris Elba as Mr. Green.
No. Okay, no, I agree with you. Idris Elba would be better for Professor Plum. And then
nice
Keanu,
one.
Yeah, I didn't do that into the microphone this time.
No.
You're off to the side, but Keanu Reeves could be.
He'd be Mr. Green.
Mr. Green.
Yeah.
I could see that.
Did we miss anybody? We've got Peacock.
Mrs. White.
Mrs. White.
Who would Mrs. White be?
Oh, I see her. Alex.
Sarah Jessica Parker.
No. I'm thinking Alex Borstein.
I don't know who that is.
She was on Mad TV. She's in Marvelous Mrs. Maisel currently.
You lost me.
She's a really, really great actress. I think she could pull it off. Anyway, those are my picks for the reboot. And it sounds like you're on board with a majority of them.
Yeah, and you know what? I would love to see what our listeners think. So tell us, because I'm sure you guys have seen Clue. If not, watch it. And then tweet us at Casual Movie Club and tell us who you would want to see recast if they did a reboot. Now, speaking of that, just as a quick aside, have you seen the kind of internet backlash about the Princess Bride reboot?
Yeah,
supposedly they wanted to do one, and everybody was going on Twitter and social media and saying, don't touch it. And then Carrie Elwes actually came up and said, there's a shortage of perfect movies in this world. I'd be ashamed to ruin this one.
Yeah.
I was like, that was perfect.
Agreed.
So perfect. So I hope they don't do a reboot of this. But if, just for fun, if you guys and gals listening to this imagine a reboot of Clue, who would you want to play which character? Tell us, because we would love to know.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So my notes, my notes really are just like recounting the movie. I don't have anything interesting other than what I had those questions I had for you. They were at the top of my notes.
Okay. One of the issues that I had, and this could just be suspending disbelief that it's a movie, but there were 4 instances where things just randomly fell or happened at the exact right time.
You talking about the candlestick?
That was one of them, yeah. So, one of them was the cook's body falling out of the fridge.
Yeah.
Like Mr. Green was standing there and the cook's body just happens to fall out of the fridge at that point. Mm-hmm. The candlestick falling onto Wadsworth's head. The fireplace closing right after Colonel Mustard and Miss Scarlet went into the study.
Yeah.
And then the door shutting and window opening right when the lights went out.
Mm.
Why did that have to happen at that exact time?
It's a board game that's a movie's based on.
Yeah, exactly. Now, let me ask you this. Is there anything else you want to mention, or do you want to do numbers?
I'm ready for numbers, baby.
All right. Let me just see if there's anything else I want to mention. Did you notice when Yvette was walking into her death, like she lost her accent for part of it, and there was some woman that was like, talking in the whisper. Like, I just thought that was kind of weird.
Well, yeah, I mean, that just goes to show that she was in on it. And Wadsworth, in one of the endings, like brought that up. It was like all of the staff here are accomplices. All you guys are victims.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Fair enough. All right, so you want to do some numbers?
Let's do the numbers, baby.
Now, before we reveal our numbers, do we want to give the folks listening a little insight as to what numbers are that we're going to do?
That sounds like a good idea to me.
Yeah. Do you want to start it off?
Yeah. We have 6 categories.
Not just 5, not 7, but 6.
In which we rate and review the films that John and I watched together.
That's right.
Of those 6, we're starting with 1, which is acting. How well did the actors convey the story? How believable were they?
Exactly. And then the script. How well was the dialogue written? How was the story? Was it believable? And then things like
presentation, the editing, and visual effects. How were they used? Were there too much effects? Were there not enough?
Right. So that's kind of covers the visual end of it. But what about the sound of it? What about the goodies for your ears? Did you like the music, the sound effects, the mix? How did your ears enjoy the movie?
And next is uniqueness. Has this been done before? Is there another movie that has come out around this time that's similar? Yes.
Exactly. Or, finally, the engagement factor. How connected to the movie were you? Were you kind of on the edge of your seat, dying to know what was going to happen? Or were you stuck to your phone looking at things on Twitter? You thought I was going to say Kim Kardashian's butt, didn't you?
Yeah, well, you said it.
I know.
You said.
So, would you rather be reading Twitter or would you rather be watching the movie? That's the engagement factor there. The higher the number, the better. So, to kick things off, Brian, how would you like to listen to me give my acting score?
I'd love it. Give it to me.
Sweet. Well, unfortunately, I'm going to have you give the acting score first, so go ahead.
I'm going to start off acting with 3.5. The acting was great. It was good, but there was like no one performance that really knocked it out of the park. As a whole, the movie was really well acted, but there was nothing that really stood out for me. If I had to choose a performance, naturally I'd give it to Tim Curry.
Yeah.
But this movie wasn't about how well it was acted for me. It was about everything else. It was about the total package. So for me, 3.5.
Okay. I respect that. I'm actually giving it a 4 because I really liked the acting in this movie. I thought there was really great chemistry between the two, between the folks that were in there. I really liked the way that the acting was between everybody. So I'm giving it going with a 4. There we go.
A 4.
A 4 for the acting. Now the script. I really liked the story, and I'm giving a special nod to the fact that this was a movie based on a board game. So the board game can be played any way, with any amount of variables, any amount of things can happen, but they came up with and they developed a story for a very plausible play session of the game, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. So script for me is going to be a 4, because I thought there was also some great quotable lines in the movie as well. The whole, the one of the things that is quoted often is the Madeline Kahn doing Mrs. White when she talks about the flames coming out of the side of her face. That was actually ad-libbed, but there were a number of other quotable lines and things in the movie that were just really, really funny. So script's got 4 for me.
Wow. This was very cleverly written, in my opinion. The wordplay was really on point. The exchanges between the butler and Colonel Mustard were hilarious.
Oh, yeah.
Not only that, just how they moved from room to room, how they tied everything together. I loved the multiple endings. Loved the multiple endings. Again, the dialogue was so quick and witty, very well written in my opinion. Not perfect. So for that, I'm going to give it a 4.5.
Awesome. Very cool. So, Brian, while you are in the hot seat, talk to us about your thoughts on the presentation. Did your eyes enjoy the movie?
It did not.
Really?
It generally did not. I wasn't offended. The effects, while there were a lot of practical effects, there were a lot of, I guess, it's not green screen, but when they were looking at the house from afar, the rain effects, I don't know, it just wasn't really impressed with the whole effects part of sides of things. So for me, the presentation was just like a flat 3.
Really?
Yeah.
You sure?
Certain.
Wow. See, I agree with you on most of that, but I really enjoyed the fact that it was all practical effects. You know, they didn't do any green screen. They didn't do anything over the top. It was all very believable, and none of the effects took away from the story, the telling of the story. You know how sometimes you watch a movie and you can spot when it's an egregious green screen, or you can spot when it's clearly CGI, or you can spot when it's clearly fake. This was all very practically done, and I really enjoyed that. But also, interestingly enough, the entire movie was shot on a set. Mm-hmm. It was a set, so it looked like a mansion. It was very believable to be a mansion. You know, I enjoyed that aspect of it. It didn't feel like a movie to me. It felt like it was shot on location, you know, in an actual mansion, in an actual large house. So for me, the presentation was appropriate. You know, I really liked it. Nothing offended me. Nothing blew me out of the water, but I give it a 4. So apart from that, music and sound, I do have to say I really liked the music. I thought it was appropriate for what was happening. I kind of thought there was, especially for the opening theme and everything, I thought there was a bit of a zany characteristic, but also an intensity to it. So I liked the music. I don't think it was overdone. I thought it was nicely supplemental to what happened in the movie. So music and sound for me is a solid, steady 4.
Nice.
And you?
I echo a lot of those sentiments. Some of the sound effects were a little out there for me. This is a zany type of movie, and the score definitely reflected that. When people were hit over head with wrenches and pipes, when gunshots were happening, those things were there, and I recognized them for what they were. They were telling you what was happening. I wasn't really blown away by it, though. I'll give it a 3.5.
Okay. That's fine. And then uniqueness. What do you think this movie rates on uniqueness?
We're basing this off of 1985, give or take a year, just because of you want to give the time period a little room to breathe for other films to come out.
Yep.
This feels very unique to me, though. The multiple endings in particular. I've seen a few other whodunit murder mysteries, that kind of thing, but I can't really recall anything before this movie that I've seen other than like Hitchcock films or anything like that.
Right.
This movie pays a little bit of homage to some of those films, but this feels very unique to me. Again, I can't say enough about the multiple endings. Loved it. Uniqueness is a 4.
You sure?
Certain.
Is that it?
That's it.
Because for me, I'm going 5 for uniqueness.
Tell me.
Because the biggest reason I'm giving this a 5 is because this is the first movie that we've ever seen based on a board game. Number 1. Number 2, it had the multiple endings, all of which were completely plausible. And number 3, we've never seen anything like this. There's never been a movie based on a board game that came out in 1985 or earlier. So to me, it doesn't get any more unique than that.
Interesting.
Yeah? Okay. Engagement factor. So I'm going to round things out. Now, I've seen this movie a number of times, so tonight I wasn't necessarily as glued to the screen as I would have been previously, but I think the pacing of the movie does go nicely. There really aren't a lot of sections that drag too much. And the sections that, there are little sections here and there that take some time to get through, like when Wadsworth is reading all the information about the various people that are being blackmailed, and when they're going through who killed who and running around between room to room. These are things that kind of have to get done in order to drive the plot forward. So those, I could see how some might think that was dragging at points, but I don't feel like the movie dragged at any points. I think that, it was about an hour and 36 minutes or something.
Yeah.
It felt appropriate. That didn't feel bad for me. Engagement for me is going to be a solid, steady 4.
Yeah. For me, also a 4 as well. There are times where I could have looked at my phone. I could have just been listening to it and not watching it. But the dialogue is so sharp that you don't really have to be fully engaged.
Yeah.
But when you are, you're rewarded with just sharp wordplay. I love
performances
it.
And yeah.
Yeah. So engagement factor is a 4 for me.
Awesome. And with that being said, Brian, do you have any take-backsies that you'd like to do, possibly in the uniqueness department?
Not one, no.
You sure?
I'm sure.
You don't want to give uniqueness any bonus points?
I don't, no.
Because you don't think this movie's unique?
I do think it's unique. I think it's unique up to 4 points.
Not any more than 4?
Correct.
That's harsh.
I
All right, so
this movie does what it does for me.
Right, but I mean there is nothing else that combines the fact that it's made off a board game and it has multiple endings. There's nothing else that does that, and you only want to give it a 4?
It's not just that though.
Those are two really big things. I really take a major issue with your score of uniqueness.
You're not going to have to live with it then, because it's very much of the time. It's an 80s feel of a film. The multiple endings are unique. Mm-hmm. The performances are unique, but
the fact that it's a movie based on a board game.
Yeah.
There have not been any movies that came out in 85 or earlier based on a board game.
It's still a 4 for me.
I think that's too low. But hey, that's just my opinion. Yeah. I mean, this is Casual Movie Club. We keep it casual. We don't have to agree on everything.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But anyway, the uniqueness average factor is higher than 4, so I'm happy anyway. So, confirming one more time, last time to lock it all in, are you locking your scores in? Are the numbers in?
The numbers are in.
All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, despite Brian's lowballing of the uniqueness score,
you're not going to get me to change my mind.
I'm for those unaware, I'm giving him a glare right now. Yeah. Here we go. And by the way, ladies and gentlemen, everybody listening, if you disagree with Brian, let us know. Tweet us at Casual Movie Club. Let us know what you think you would have scored the uniqueness at, because I think this movie is pretty damn unique. But the numbers are in, ladies and gentlemen. Here we go. Clue from 1985 goes a little something like this. Acting 3.83. Script 4.17. Presentation 3.67. Music and sound 3.83. Uniqueness should be higher, but 4.67. Engagement factor is 4 for a total average of 4.03. Just above The Wrestler and just below Mrs. Doubtfire.
403.
4.03.
Okay.
Which I think is good. That's top, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It's like 11th.
Yeah.
It's so just below top 10. If you had been a little bit more reasonable with your uniqueness score, we could have been in top 10, but I'm okay with where it is.
Okay.
And then now next week we've got something special set up for you next week.
Yeah.
Do we want to tell them, or do we want to keep it a surprise?
I mean, we can tell them. Yeah, it's gonna just to stick with the Halloween theme. We're going to be reviewing the movie Seven,
or SE7EN. Seven.
Seven.
Yeah, Seven.
Seven.
So we're doing Seven next week. Kind of keeping it with the crime drama, murder craziness, whatever.
Murder mystery. It's a murder mystery.
It really is. It really is. And then 2 weeks from now, you guys are going to be in for a surprise, huh?
Yeah, it's going to be the Halloween episode.
That's right, because this one is going to come out right around Halloween, so you definitely don't want to miss that. And while we're on the subject of that, check out our leaderboard on casualmovieclub.com, our website, where you can get access to see all of our previous movies and see how we've ranked them in terms of our different criteria. You can also click on the Patreon button to go over and support us with your wallet. $1 a month or more would be greatly appreciated. You can help us keep the podcast going, keep the lights on, so to speak, and keep us able to deliver this wonderful content for you. You can even buy merchandise, whether it's t-shirts, iPhone cases, notebooks, or whatever you like. You can rep your favorite movie podcast by clicking on the merch button and buying some merchandise from our partner store by doing that. So, Brian, do you have anything else you want to add?
No, I think I'm good. You covered it all.
You sure you don't want to update your... No, the numbers are... I can't do that. All right. Well, everyone, thank you so very much for listening in. We always appreciate it. All are welcome in the Casual Movie Club. We would love to have you share our podcast with anybody that you think would enjoy it, because everyone is welcome in the Casual Movie Club. And until next time, we'll see ya.
See ya.